today's session for the first time, or if you have not joined in the first few sessions, I think the foundation we put was in the earlier sessions, because if you are just joining us with these sessions and if you are thinking let's go for war, it's very dangerous, because the warfare you need to make sure that you are fit for war, and that's what we covered in the earlier sessions. So now I just wanted to recap. Last week we also looked at the nature of the enemy that we are fighting, and we know that we are not fighting against a group of people here. We know, and the Bible talks about, there is a spiritual world that we cannot see. And many of the issues what you are going through right now is not because your friend has done something, or your spouse has done something, or your in-laws have done something, or your neighbors have done something. It's because there is a spiritual world out there that we cannot see with our own eyes, but the manifestations you can, or the consequences of the fight that is happening in the spiritual realm is manifested on your bodies. It could be as sicknesses, it could be as difficulties in your life, or it could be as struggles. I know I am now dealing with a person, no matter what they do, they are not getting an opportunity. A door is not opening, and it's been months. And it's not that the person is having no qualification. No, the person has got good qualification, the person has got good talents, abilities, but a door for a job is not opening. An opportunity is not opening. And many times, those kind of things, it's easy to say, yeah, I am just, it's a bad luck. You cannot just brush it aside saying that this is a bad luck, or my time is not up. It's sometimes those kind of hindrances that you go through are spiritual in nature. That is why we need to understand who our enemy is. And the Bible talks about different names that we looked at last week. If we can quickly go through those slides, we can, if you put the first slide. So these are the names that the Bible talks about for the enemy, or Satan, or devil. It's called Apollyon, which is the angel of the abyss. It's also, the meaning is the destroyer. It destroys. And the reference is Revelation 9:11, and you know that it's already displayed. The next one is accuser. He's the accuser. His name is called the accuser of the brethren. He keeps on accusing us. Oh, she's a bad person. He is a bad person. Always accuses. Then Satan's name is given as adversary. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion. Next one is, again, the angel of light. He takes up and pretends to be an angel, a beautiful angel of light. Then he is called the Antichrist. 1 John 1:14, and it says he is already here. The spirit of Antichrist is already here. And then Beelzebub, or the Lord of the Flies, or the ruler of demons. And this is in Matthew 12:24. It talks about that. And then it says a worthless, Belial, or perverse. And this is given in 2 Corinthians 6:15. And what accord has Christ, accord has Christ with Belial? So that's another name. And then the next one is the condemner. He condemns people. And 1 Timothy 3:6, then Paul is telling Timothy that an elder should not be a novice, lest being puffed up with pride, he fall into the same condemnation as the devil. Then he is also called deceiver. That is the fascinating thing about the devil. Because the person who is under deception doesn't know that he is being deceived. So he is nicely chatting with this person, or the enemy is he thinks that he is the friend, and finally, towards the end, when it is too late, the person realizes that he has been deceived. So that's his tactic. And then he's also called devil or destroyer of life. And then he's also called dragon in Revelation 13:11. And then he's called demon, who can oppress people. And then the next slide, he's called the evil one, he's called the enemy, and he's called the God of this world, he's called the king. We have gone through all these, and I have given you all the references. The next slide as well, we'll just go quickly because we have done this. And he's the liar, and Jesus talks about him as he's the father of all lies. He's a murderer, he likes to kill people, not literally coming and killing, you don't have to be afraid of that, but he takes the responsibility of all these untimely deaths and all those things. He doesn't like people having life. God gives us eternal life, and he's not a life giver. Whereas Bible talks, Jesus is the life giver. Then he's an oppressor. He oppresses people. Then Jesus went around doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil. So Jesus, he talks about when he started his ministry, he said that he came to set the captives free. And those who are oppressed, he delivered them. So he was looking for those people who needed help. And devil, on the other hand, he doesn't like people walking free. And so he was oppressing. Then we also looked at roaring lion, and then serpent or a snake. And we talked about it last time as well in Revelation. Then he's called the tempter. He tempts people. You know, just today we were talking about how he tempts people. A person who wants to lead a clean life, he doesn't like. He always brings in temptation. You can make a decision in God's presence that I'm going to live a good life now. And the next very moment, he comes with the temptation. He is a thief and he's a wolf. These are the characteristics of the devil. He tears down. He doesn't show any mercy. And he's a filthy fighter. And if we look at the next slide, how demons enter. Now, should we worry about these things? Should we have to worry about the devil? How demons enter is very important, because always remember, he's not going to enter just because he just saw you walking around. Okay, this person is a nice person, let me enter. It doesn't enter like that. He needs a right to be given. He needs an open door for him to enter. I showed you, you are like a house with doors and windows. And for something to enter into your room or house, you need to open the door for him. So devil always wants a legal right. So this is what I was showing. If the door is shut, nobody can enter. I mean, a shut door, even if the door is weak, old, it's almost going to fall down, but as long as it is shut, it keeps away from certain things. I mean, if you are deliberate to push in, then yes, but a door is there to prevent from entering. So if you click one more, if you click on the next, so this is where a door is open. When there is an open door, it invites things to come in. Trespass. So it won't call it as a trespass. When a door is open, it's like inviting. That's where we are going to look today. How can you open door for demonic things or evil? Or you can put all those names, the Apollyon or the devil or the demon or evil one. How can they enter? Okay. So the first one, how they enter, is one of the things that is very common these days. I want to address this, is the occult. Okay? And occult is if you display before this, Deuteronomy 18, 9 to 14, if somebody could read that. Deuteronomy 18, 9 to 14.
When you enter the land the Lord
Yeah.
your God is giving you, be very careful not to imitate the detestable customs of the nations living there.
Yeah.
For example, never sacrifice your son or daughter as a burnt offering, and do not let your people practice fortune telling, or use sorcery, or interpret omens, or engage in witchcraft, or cast spells, or function as mediums,
Mm-hmm.
or psychics, or call forth the spirits of the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. It is because the other nations have done these detestable things that the Lord your God will drive them out ahead of you. But you must be blameless before the Lord your God. The nations you are about to face consult sorcerers and fortune tellers. But the Lord your God forbids you to do such things.
So what we heard here, the first way is a description that God was explaining to the people of Israel in the Old Testament, is an instruction not to get involved in any occult or evil things. And there is a list of things that it talks about. And I wanted to also, just before we went, just before we go through this, we have actually looked into our own personal, before that goes into involving into occult, there is also our lives. We addressed about our personal life and our heart, how it can also open door. When we have unforgiveness, we looked into it, the personal or the secret sins in our heart. So that also can invite and open door to demonic, right? If we harbor unforgiveness, bitterness, offense, we have dealt with it in detail. The second area what we have as a recap, I want to just touch base, is also through family line generations. We looked into it. It can be a pattern, but again we said this, that if you come to the cross, if you come to Jesus, there is nothing, no demonic oppression that will stay if you come before Christ, because Christ can redeem you from any oppression. But there is a generational pattern that we need to address. And there is also in Luke chapter 13, there is Jesus, when he was going to the synagogue, there was a lady who came, a woman, who was bent, it says in one of the translations, bent twice or bent double. She was a woman who was oppressed, and Jesus specifically says there that she was oppressed for 18 years. I'm sure she was not oppressed like this from birth, because it says she was disabled, she was a woman. So she's not definitely a teenager, because if she was a teenager, they would have said it's a girl. But she's a woman. And so then Jesus is talking, I think towards the last one, verse 17, I think Jesus is telling the Pharisees that, because the Pharisees were telling Jesus, why did you heal her on the Sabbath day? But just before that, probably 16 then, he says, this dear woman, a daughter of Abraham. So she was a child of God. She was the person who was coming to church. She was a child of God. She was loved by Jesus. She was loved by God. But she was in bondage. So I asked the question last time, can Christians be demonized? Yes, they can. Because you can be right inside the church. You can be singing, you can be involved in any ministry, but you can still be oppressed. Jesus saw her and then she was released. He didn't care whether it was a Sabbath or not. She was released. So one of the thing is, Jesus is telling she was in bondage for 18 years. That means what happened before that 18 years? Something must have happened 19 years ago so that this demon who was oppressing her came into her. Because once she was free, that's what the text means. Because for 18 years, something must have happened and she was oppressed. Now, today's session, I know this is a Bible study, but today's session, there is a portion in the Old Testament. Let me just also say that as a context. You remember Elijah. Elijah, everybody is looking there, so I'm just getting distracted as well. So if you could just look at me, then I can also concentrate. I don't have a problem, but everybody's looking there, then my flow is going. Elijah was sitting in Jericho. And when he was sitting in Jericho, some of the people in Jericho came and told that, Lord, this place, there is a problem. I know this is a city set in a beautiful place. The location is brilliant because Jericho is called the city of palms. And so the place is absolutely brilliant. But there is a problem, Lord. The water is bitter and the place is unproductive. But I was actually looking in Hebrew, the original text, it says, I don't know Hebrew, but in the original text, it says, the land is causing miscarriage. That means, it's not that all ladies are having miscarriage. That doesn't, it may mean that, but what it means is, if you plant a crop, it's growing, but then halfway through something happens and everything is going down. You are starting a business, halfway through it was just coming up and then it just goes bad. So the land is unproductive. It is not able to bear any fruit. So what did Elisha do? He said, let's go to the source of this water. And he got a salt and then he went, looked for the source of that water supply. And then he put the salt at the source. So by listening to this Bible study, you are actually, I want to take you to the source. And while I am just telling a list of things that I can talk, it's an exhaustive list of things that how demons can enter into you, but some of them are not relevant for you. But what you need to do while you sit here is to examine and see where the source is. Only when you put and address the root cause, then you will have a healing. But sadly, many Christians, they want instant healing. What can I do now, today? I don't have time for more. I don't have time to even find what is the root cause of my problem. I just want a quick fix. That's what many Christians want. So we are going to the root cause, and that is where when I speak here, you need to think about what have you done or may have done. I'm not telling you all have done something wrong. Please don't think that way. But what could be a reason your present situation is? Because I tell you, the Bible talks about all the blessings that are there. The Bible talks is for you. If God says you will have good health, you will have good health. If God says you will have long life, I mean, for everybody, God intends to have long life, good health, good circumstance, not having any financial difficulties. I'm not saying, don't take me wrong. You may go through financial difficulties, but not the whole entire lifetime. You may have ups and downs. Sometimes God wants to purify you. Sometimes God wants to test you. But then for 25 years you are in financial difficulty. That is not right. Yeah? So God's intention is to keep you safe and secure. But where is the problem? It's your duty to find out, why is this issue in my life? In my life. I have done this. That's why I can tell you. What is it? Okay, so the first one, I put it as meditation. Okay? This is now a big thing in this current generation. It's a big thing because I work in a place where everybody, in every conversation, mindfulness, well-being. I'm sure in schools there are sessions after sessions about all of this meditation, being about mindfulness, even walking mindfulness, the well-being, body, soul and mind. I remember when my son was in school, in primary school, I mean he's still in primary school, but in the smaller class, they used to have all these talks. I think when he was in year 3 or year 2, he was talking about, my well-being and mindfulness, and I was just looking at him, knowing that in our time we never had any mindfulness. And if we said that my mind is not right, our parents used to say, what's wrong with you? They never even looked at it. So there is lots of talks about mindfulness. So, let me just see. I put it as yoga because it's a big thing. And many are now embracing yoga as a way of meditation. And we, coming from India, we have a lot of tradition or cultural and tradition about all these things, because this originates from India. A lot of things, this has spread now everywhere in the world, and so many millions of people are embracing this. And many, if it was just it's sold out as stretching exercises, different postures. Some of you who, if you don't know, I don't know if you have it in your country as well. Yes? Yeah. Okay. So it's not just a stretching exercise. If it was, that was fine. It was brilliant. And it was sold as that. But the meaning of yoga in the literal sense is being yoked, being yoked or united. Because it's all about being yoked with your body, mind and soul, being united. Because in order to have well-being in your mind, because your mind is distraught, looking at the circumstance, so you are trying to unite your body and mind and soul together so that it can be yoked with your mind, your human mind, with God's mind. That is what the aim of yoga is. Yeah, being yoked, because you are lower, and so you are trying to unite with the Brahma, I think, with the God, with the divine. And that's what it means. And it has got different postures as well, different mudras as well. So around, I don't know much about it, but around 300 or so mudras. And one of these, you probably know, our Indian tradition is about giving namaste. And that is also part of one of the mudras. Yeah? So we don't know much about this. We tell, oh, namaskaram or namaste. That is like a greeting. Yeah? But when we talk about yoga, this becomes I think it is, did I write it down? It's something I'm not very well versed. It's called Anjali Mudra. When you say this in prayer, and when you say namaste, when we do this as a ritual in yoga, you are actually saying the divine in me is bowing before the divine in you. Because in Indian tradition, we see God in everybody and we respect. That's where the respect comes from. And that is where Indian tradition always teaches humility. Well, it sounds right, but the problem is then you are going into the next level. So it starts with just a stretching exercise, and then in order to be united from your mind and soul to God, you need to empty your mind. So you are trying to, because you are quite frustrated about something and you are trying to empty your mind, you are emptying your mind, removing all the negative thoughts so that you can just be one with God, is what is the problem is. Because in the spiritual realm, when you empty your mind completely, that is when you are open and vulnerable to any kind of demonic attack. Because you are opening it up. So any demonic entities can get in. And that is why we also looked at when an evil spirit comes to a person, when an evil spirit is cast out of a person, he goes and looks for the airy grounds, and then when he couldn't find rest, he comes back and he sees the person's house nice and tidy and empty. That's when he comes with more evil spirits. So the Bible talks about, we are not supposed to empty our minds. Not emptying our mind completely. That's where the problem is. And then, this is now as an alternative medicine, people are getting fascinated by this practice. And sometimes even Christians, they put worship music and practice yoga. So we can actually practice both together. But no matter, it's not about the yoga, it's about emptying your mind so that the demons or the evil spirit can enter into. That's where the problem is. And everybody is now looking and going into all those practices where they get instant healing or gratification because you feel good about it. When when it is added with stretching and or different postures, you feel good in your body temporarily. But later on, that's when the problems are. There are hundreds of testimonies of people who have been yoga instructors. Initially, they were feeling good, they were feeling top of the world, but eventually, they were really oppressed by so many demonic forces because you can do a lot with yoga. We can actually attain that sense of even out-of-body experiences. Lots of things you can do and you feel a sense of achieving these things. But this is the devil who is a deceiver and he feels like this, but they are oppressed for their lifetime. So many people are getting delivered out of this practice. Yeah. And then if you put the next one, I think I have also added, I'm sure some of you must have heard about this. This is also in the practice of yoga. There is, so what they do, again, I have not studied it too much, but what they are concentrating, even the posture of sitting, I don't know if, have you tried sitting? I think if you are not, if you don't practice, you won't be able to sit even like that. It looks so simple, but it actually gives you that, the posture itself is important because it's something to align with your spine. And by this posture, what they are concentrating is the 7 chakras, they say. And every chakra, I don't even know. Yeah. So there is root chakra, sacral, solar, heart, throat, and the third eye, and the crown. So every area, when you concentrate, it has got its own significance. Now, these are, so, based on that, you have all those areas, they can sort out if there are any problems. So then when you go deep into it, every organ you can treat with this, yeah. So the next slide I have actually put it. So some of the things I know, you may not be practicing yoga and all this, but can you see, these are very fashionable now, because you can buy your jewelry or pendants with different chakras. You may not realize, oh, that's a cute one, that's a cool one, or sometimes people present it. So I've just put one name. So all of those has got its own spiritual significance. So the moment you are wearing it, what you are thinking is you are actually aligning with that. You are being yoked, knowingly or unknowingly. So that is where you need to be careful about. And there are lots of things as well that is connected to this. Now, I don't want you to explore too much, but there is a hidden danger, and it is a deception that you need to be cautious about. The next slide, please. Then, not only yoga, there are lots of other meditations as well, okay? I'm not saying just yoga is the one. Any kind of meditation, it sounds very inviting. And as I said, I think during my work, in my workplace, I think I have in every meetings or any kind of workshops that we do, we have to invite, or we do invite, psychologists. And many of the psychologists are trained to do mindfulness and mind and this meditation. And I have been in sessions of mindfulness where the psychologist will do kind of like talking therapy, kind of things, just so that the employees will have no other issues and their well-being is because people are now talking a lot about this well-being. And I've been in this situation where they will take you, and it's very awkward to go out of the setting. Yeah, so you go there, they will ask you to close your eyes, and lots of different types of meditations are there. And you cannot escape. This is a very common thing. I'm sure in schools as well you may have it. Meditation is a practice that involves focusing your mind on a particular object. It can be, there are different types of meditations. Thought or activity to achieve a state of mental clarity, because there is a lot of talk about mental fogging now. There is nothing very clear, and there are lots of consequences attached to it, like anxiety, very common in youngsters, like panic attacks. Then you are having quite a lot of stress about lots of things. But in this situation, people often refer them to meditation or meditation classes, talking therapies, mindfulness sessions. I was just talking to someone, and they are having a mindfulness session for 6 weeks class. So there are lots of things that is out there that we can be deceived as well. So it will provide calmness. It is a way to connect with your inner self, increase your self-awareness, and gain control over your thoughts and feelings. That's what meditation is. If you can put the next slide. So then there is a difference, because the Bible also talks about meditation. So meditation itself is not bad. But I have put here the key difference between any meditation, regardless of the type. The key reason of why this is not good is, one is focusing on self. You are looking into, you're closing your eyes and you are looking into yourself. And then you are then closing your eyes, you're looking into yourself, and then you are getting some personal insights. Okay, it could be even a person who doesn't believe in God can have this as concentrate on the self. Then the purpose of that meditation, a secular meditation, is self-improvement, spiritual enlightenment, and inner peace, a calmness. Doesn't have to be a God in the picture. Whereas the Bible talks about the meditation in a different way. So the focus is, you are focusing on God. And then the source of your meditation is you are meditating on the word. Because in many places, in Joshua, in Deuteronomy, in many places, in Psalms, it talks about meditating the word of God. That means you are reading the word and then you are rereading the word in your mind so that you try to understand, so that you can apply it into practice. So that is, you are meditating it with God, with the help of God. And the other thing is, it aligns with biblical truth, and you grow in Christ and you gain an inner peace with God. So what you are trying to do with other meditation is looking into yourself, and you are trying the possibilities within yourself and see how great you are. So when you finish the meditation, you feel a sense of, yeah, I'm great. So it's more concentration on self. Whereas when you are in the Christian perspective, when you are meditating, you are telling God, Lord, I am so tired. I'm not good by myself. But when I am weak, you are strong. You are going to hold my hand and I can walk with you. So when a Christian finishes its meditation, you come out with, yes, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you will be with me. That confidence that you are not alone, you are with God. That confidence that I am weak, God, I have no strength in me, but you are there. So that is over-reliance on God to take you to the places, to the next level. And then the next one, is that it? Oh, sorry. There are a few slides as well, probably. There isn't any? Wow. Sorry. So then it may not have saved. Okay. So we can actually, so I have put, there are a few other slides. So the types of meditation. Is there a similar, another one with the same? Yeah. Probably it is as a second one. So there is, in the meditation, what I was going through is there is another type of meditation called body scan meditation. Have you heard of this? Have you been to? I've been into that because in one of the sessions when so body scan meditation is, so our psychologist one day when I was calling it for a workshop, there was a team meeting. and the psychologist came and she did the session, and then in the end she did, let's do a meditation. And then she asked us to stay in a comfortable chair and then close our eyes. And then what they are trying to do is they focus your attention to every parts of your body. So they would take you through with certain, she will tell something and then you have to actually imagine that. So then they will say, focus on your hand, focus on your legs, focus on your stomach, focus on your breathing, focus on your eyes, see if there is any pain. So these are, I'm not saying all these are demonic, okay? It depends on, so you are actually focusing on each part of your body, so that sometimes if you had a traumatic experience, or if you had in any area of your emotion where you are hurt deeply, so that you can't verbalize it, what they say is you can address those areas and then they can direct the therapist there. So I'm not saying it is bad, but it's actually again focusing to areas, to your own self. Yeah. So it's like, you know, when some people say, oh, I had butterflies in my stomach. That is like a phrase that people use. They don't have butterflies in the stomach. But then what happens is, because of their emotions, something is churning inside their stomach. So the attention is physical then. It's like when people say heartache. It's not heartache. Their heart is not aching, but those are phrases where sometimes our emotions can be touched on the body. So that's body scan sessions. Then there is also called loving kindness meditation. Have you heard of that? Metta meditations. This is another one which is a new age, which is very common. It says, so probably you must have seen, they will advise you to say so much of positive things. I am good. Today I am happy. Tell that repeatedly. And say, I am blessed. Oh, I am blessed. You say that over and over again. And then it will tell you, now think about another person who is your friend, who is your closest. And say that, oh, that person is happy. That person is going to be blessed. That person is very good. And then you think about another person whom you probably have met on the road. You don't know them. You don't have any relation. Start blessing that person. Not just blessing, but just say positive things about that person. So what they are saying is, it kind of like say, what's wrong in this? This is like good. But repeatedly saying that, you are just relying on your own self. I'm just telling, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. So that's also, it's a very popular one now. People are actually accepting it. And this is very popular these are different meditations that are in offices, in schools, in colleges, in the workplaces, because people are really affected by mental well-being. Then mantra meditation. So people will ask them to recite something, a phrase, or they will speak aloud, or a sound, yeah, like something repeatedly telling. Then there could be a meditation called focused attention. They will focus on something. Okay, I'm focusing there on that picture. Then you focus, and then finally you are drawn into that picture so that you are not aware of the surrounding. So that's a focused meditation. And then you have visualization. I have been into these sessions as well, because in the workplace there is several ones. And so visualization is focusing. They ask you to close your eyes and then visualize about a waterfall. Picture a waterfall or a tree, and the tree is having this, there is a breeze and the flowers are, so they will take you, so you are actually trying to detach yourself from the feeling. So these are like having mental images, and these are all taking us, knowingly or unknowingly, they are taking us away from God. I'm not saying if you are coming across with such meditations or anything, you can't sometimes walk out. You're not walking out. I mean, you don't want to be like rude to a class where it's only few people. But what you do is in any of these things, make sure you are not emptying your mind and you are not focusing without God. Bible talks us that you as a human being, you are like a grass. Today you are seen, tomorrow you are known. But your reliance is in God. That is where, as I showed you those slides, your reliance is in God. That's one area that many of us are forced to be part of it, yeah? And the second one, I took lots of, second one, sadly, I had a slide on that, but I don't know what happened. It didn't probably got saved. Astrology. Astrology, knowingly or unknowingly, we all, if I ask you, do you know what zodiac sign is yours? All of us know. What is our zodiac sign? We used to, just out of curiosity, it's not because that we want to know about the future, but we all know that. And then sometimes in schools, I remember we used to say, oh, that's your your personality is based on your zodiac sign. And we all know which sign are you. And we all know the characteristics. And sometimes we used to have this in the magazines. Every weekly, people would say, oh, how will it be for a week for you? Or monthly signs. Or sometimes, some people even probably with AI and all now, daily probably you can get. So some of you, if you don't know, zodiac signs are like, it's about the stars and the alignment with the moon and the stars and some of the planets that you can see with your physical eyes and the constellations when you are born. That's how they say when is it born, and based on the alignment of the stars, that's how you get the which star are you. And I am thinking when Jesus was born, probably people, the wise men from the east who came, they were really astrologers who learned all these signs and they saw something like a star. That's why they came and took the pain. They wanted to see who is this great man is. So it's usually when they are born, okay? But all of these things, they are a doorway for the devil. So if you have done it, just ask the Lord, sorry, in my ignorance I did it, because I did it. I did it in my childhood. We knew, I know what my star is. But that means you have actually opened a door for the demonic, because the portion that Santosh was reading was astrologers as also in the Bible that should not be doing it. You should not be looking for stars. You should not be, because the star is a created being. You are much higher than a star, what it says. Because if you are with the divine, one true God, if you are united with God, no power can touch you. You know, in our culture, there is also some of the stars, like the star already will say that, oh, you will not get married, or you cannot get married, or your husband or your wife will die. It's a belief system, or it's a tradition or culture. But no matter what happens, the star is not telling your destiny, because you are more precious than what a star can talk about you. If you give your life to Christ, no power can touch you, because He is the divine. He is the one true God. The stars and the constellations or the arrangement cannot control or tell your destiny. Yeah. So that's another one. I put also a slide with Deuteronomy 18, if you can just display that, because it was already on my slide. I don't know what happened. So Deuteronomy 18, 10 to 12, I think that's what he read. And then Isaiah 47, this portion already Santosh read it. So Isaiah 47, 12 and 13. So it says again, do not use your magical charms or use the spells you have worked at all these years. 13, verse 13. So God is asking, where are all your astrologers? Those stargazers who make predictions each month. You see, those days as well, they used to do all these things. They used to predict. So these are not to be done. And Leviticus 19:26 as well. Leviticus 19:26. Do not practice fortune telling. So fortune telling is bad. Yeah. It's not palm reading, fortune telling, all of these things. You may be doing it for fun, but it can actually open a doorway to demons. I know the time is going to be up. I just want to cover one more thing. It's about martial arts. Many of us get into these martial arts. You know, martial arts, sports such as, you know the names, karate, kung fu. I had a picture, so so it's all about, it's so annoying when it is not there, it's not saved. Sorry, it's not your fault, it didn't come. Okay, karate, kung fu, tai chi, or judo, and then some of these names I can't even read. So all of those things, martial arts, the problem with martial arts is it's always has a connection to spirituality. Hopefully I will show you the next week. It has a connection with spirituality. It's not just sports. People think it is for sports. It's for physical strength. There are 3 benefits I wrote in my slide. The first is the physical strength, or it keeps you fit, which is good. Yeah, it keeps you fit. That's for good. The second thing in martial arts, every martial arts comes with meditation and spirituality. That's the difference between a normal sports and martial arts. Every martial arts is connected to spirituality. So that's where the problem is. They also train you so that you can focus. I remember how many of you have seen Kung Fu Panda? So you've seen it. Yeah? There is always a guru or the main guy. What was his name? Oogway. Master Oogway. Master Oogway is always in meditation. Yeah? And and with the meditation power, he knows things, and then he trains his people to focus his mind. And he always says to the panda that, "Panda, focus." And he can't focus. And so panda goes more into meditation, and that's how he gains his strength. So every martial arts, you need focus, and your focusing is done by meditation and gaining. And then if you go further in all these martial arts, you get immense power that you can jump up high. Even just think about that, because I have watched it many times with when the kids were young. And you can jump up high, you can do things very fast, and you can do so many things, and those are all spiritual. You can't do it with your own strength. Yeah. So it's mental focus, spiritual energy, and physical fitness. That's what martial arts is all about. So if you are thinking, oh yeah, it's nice, it's cool, it's self-defense, it's it can have something, it's all connected to spirituality, and it can be an open door for any god other than God, because it's all, I think in all of those things, it's from the Chinese, there is Shaolin Temple. So that's where, I haven't actually studied much about it again. Buddhist, yeah. So that's how those martial arts are. It's all traditional. It's the culture of that country. So, but then that culture is through their spirituality and is inviting and getting more powers. And some of the powers you get, it may look cool because you can do so much with this power. And when you even just give a hand, you are opening a door to the demonic, and you are actually giving a legal right. I would say again, you are giving a right for the enemy to invite into your heart. And then now once the enemy is inside, initially you may not feel anything, but as the days go by, as the months go by, it becomes like an oppression. And now you want to send it out because you are too tired of this. You can't, because now he's saying, you've invited me, that's why I came, and you cannot then push him out. A pastor, no matter how powerful is he won't be able to cast it out unless you tell that, if you tell the enemy to go out, because you invited. Again, I want to stop here by telling all these darknesses, I would say it as darkness or the dark forces, the names that I showed you earlier. You don't need to shout at them, you don't need to scream at them, you don't have to push that person so that the darkness will go out of the person. All you have to do is switch the light on. I'm sure when Pastor Tiju came to this hall, he didn't come here and said, let there be light. It didn't. All he has to do is switch the light switch on, and the light will come and the darkness will go. You don't have to shout at the darkness, let the darkness go. No, just switch the light. And what is the light? Bible says Jesus is the light of this world. If you are going through any kind of darkness, all you have to do is switch the light and the darkness will go. If you are afraid of something, if you are tired of any kind of oppression, if you are tired of anything that is not allowing you to progress in life, you just have to examine. You have to sit in God's presence. Many times we as Christians, we think, okay, I'm oppressed of something. Let me do more coming to church. Let me get involved in church more. Let me do this more so that the oppression will go. The oppression won't go by doing so much of these things, the church activities. The oppression will only go as Elisha did, find the root cause, sit in God's presence and ask God, Lord, I'm going through this struggle, this sickness, this oppression in my family, this difficulty in my life. What is the reason? And then go through a list of things, what you have done. And sometimes you may not know, it is quite unknowingly you have done it. But you can confess and you can say to God, Lord, I didn't know about these things, but help me. And I want to renounce it. I want to repent because it was my ignorance. I didn't know this. And I invited the demonic powers without knowing it. And I ask forgiveness. And when you confess and ask Jesus to come into your life, the peace, the calmness, everything that you lack, you will get it. Because He is the source of everything. And that is what even in our tradition, We have an age old, you all must have studied. It's called Tamasoma, Sadgamaya. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityoma Amridamgaya. That means lead me from the lies or the falsehood to the truth, from darkness to light, from death to life. That's the simple meaning of that. That's a prayer. Traditionally, we in our country, we used to pray that. That means it's a constant prayer, no matter what the religion is. People are frustrated. They want to go. Nobody wants to be in the falsehood. Nobody wants to be in darkness. Nobody wants to be in death or oppression. Everybody wants to have that eternity. That's the prayer from traditions, from years before. People started praying. And it's only through Jesus that life comes. Because he said, I have come here to give you life, for eternal life, abundant life. And everything what you lack, no matter how much you try to replace it with any kind of things, it's only God who can give us that eternal life and abundant life. And I just want to stop here, 3 minutes over. Any quick questions? Like last time, we can either write it down and address it next week, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Is that because you didn't understand anything or you understood everything?
I didn't know the name body scan meditation, but every time I hear the word meditation, it quickly takes me to our moral science class in class 12. The reason why I think of that is, I remember one of my classmates and I, who's a Christian, one of the moral science classes, we were not there. And after we, I can't remember where we went, was we involved in some sports or something, and though we were not in class. And when we went back to class, those who were there in the moral science class, they're like, oh, Roslyn, they know you missed it. It was so great. We were having yoga and something. And like, hey, what yoga? I'm definitely not missing anything. The week after that, though, we didn't have an excuse to not be in the class. And we were stuck in class. Let's put it that way. We were stuck in class. And the teacher comes in. She's a Catholic. And Muslim students will go for their Quran lessons, and the rest of us would be in class. And again, all of them are saying, ma'am, we want to do yoga again. We are like, and I are looking at each other. We don't want to do anything. So we were sitting next to each other, and we held hands, and we slowly started praying. And ma'am is just continuing with her classes, same thing, the same, observe your head, your body parts and all this thing. And I'm like, oh God, what kind of rubbish is this? And Hindus are there. And there's this one girl, Mona, who's a Hindu. The first time it happened, we are praying on the other side. She becomes very sick, and she said, ma'am, I need to go, I feel like throwing up. She goes, comes back, but the rest of them want to continue. They again have another session. But by the time the second session happens, and I are sitting and praying, or they're quite holding hands and praying. Somehow the class got disrupted. And what the saddest part in this was Christians themselves were involved in this. I don't know how much they really knew. But again, this Mona went and vomited again. But people want to continue, and our librarian was a Pentecostal singer going in one of the Malayalam churches. We went and told, ma'am, this is what happened in moral science class. And our principal, Marthama principal, we used to call his nickname is Iron Man. We're like, can we tell P.K. Thomas, sir, that this is happening in class? I don't know, somehow I think he got did he come to know? I don't know. But after that 2 classes, we never ever had. It was like, no, we can't do this. It's not allowed. We are not allowed to do this, practice yoga in class. So with that, it stopped. Now the other thing about the zodiac thing, I don't know how much I was into it, but I know I was, as maybe more of a fun kind of thing. And I was more fascinated than just this zodiac thing. I was very fascinated by the elements that control the zodiac signs. And it was more of a fun thing, but at some point, I can't remember, at some point, somewhere in my early 20s, I guess all this martial arts involving especially our Kalaripait, and I can't remember the name, the Tamilian version of it. Those have a lot of demonic things that they have to do, like they have to do a certain yoga before they start. I think it's all of that somehow, and I'm sure it's definitely